If you're tired, lacking energy, feeling fatigued, or just blah, maybe feeling uninspired or unmotivated, or like you're running on empty, I hope you stick around and watch this video where I'm going to share some of my tips and tricks and techniques to help you restore your energy naturally. It's also my intention today to remind you to make yourself a priority so that you can recharge your own internal battery. The way that I look at it is we have an internal battery, no different than our electronic devices, whether it's your phone or your laptop. When we need to recharge those devices, what do? We simply plug them into an electrical outlet to recharge its battery so we can continue using its functions to its maximum capacity. We as humans are no different. We also have an internal battery that needs to be recharged. And I would invite you today, if you're here watching, I suspect that you're lacking energy. So if we flip it and ask yourself, like, what would you do with this newfound energy? What do you envision yourself doing when you are fully charged? Like, let that be the inspiration as we dive into today's topic. And you may think that as a nutritionist, we're going to be talking about food and food alone and how we use food to convert nutrients into usable energy. While that's partially true, there is so much more to how we derive energy. That's really what I wanted to tap into today. So first of all, you may know I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm a metabolic balance coach. So I want to address two things. One is our life and our beings from a holistic level. So looking at ourselves, not just our body, but our mind, our heart, our body, and our soul. And also as a metabolic balance coach, even though I wholeheartedly believe metabolism is the key foundation, like, the process of taking food in and converting it to usable energy, that's the premise of what I coach and I help women with is metabolic function and hormone functioning. So I believe that is uber important. However, that is not the focus of today's talk. I wanted to really kind of zoom out and give us a bird's eye overview of the ways that we can recharge ourselves on a holistic level, mind, body, heart, and soul. So it's my intention today to dive a little bit deeper and maybe into some esoteric things. I don't know. But I do want to caution that also what I am sharing is very generalized. How you are going to approach filling your own tank, recharging your own battery is going to be very unique to you. So some things that are refueling to me may not be to you. So I'm just going to give some broad range categories of how you can recharge your battery. You may have your own that you can add to this, or some may not be applicable. So I just wanted to kind of set the premise there that it is very individualized and very nuanced. So we're going to be looking at it just from a general perspective. So first of all, you may know that our body needs energy to do its daily functions, like just to survive, to breathe, to take oxygen in, to let CO2 out, our blood circulating, me moving my hands, able to speak, able to look, able to talk and share, our muscles moving, all takes energy. So even if you are laying on the couch and not doing anything, your body still needs some basic fundamental energy to survive, to do those basic daily functions. I suspect you are here because you don't want just enough energy to merely survive, because obviously you're surviving if you're watching this video. You want more than that. You're feeling like not at full capacity. So you want to thrive. And it is my deepest hope and desire that you want to live a fulfilled, audacious, amazing life. And in fact, I'd love to know, like, what does that look like for you? What are you doing, being, saying, living when you are living at your most fulfilled capacity? And let that be the inspiration of maybe considering some new techniques and strategies today to fuel your tank, to recharge your own internal battery. So the fundamental way that we get energy from for our body to do its function is from food. So obviously we break down nutrients from the foods that we take in. So from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and also from minerals and vitamins. We break down those components to get usable energy that we can convert into energy so that our body can continue to do its functions. So that is the basic principle of metabolism. However, food, while is, I said, I believe wholeheartedly that's what keeps us alive. If we weren't eating, we wouldn't be able to survive, or not for very long. So we're not going to be making that the topic of focus today. However, let's just lay the groundwork on a very general scale of food. Obviously, is the first category that we need to consider of how we are able to recharge our batteries. So what you eat, when you eat, the quantity and the quality of what you eat is all really important. We're going to dive deeper into this into future segments. It's my intention to do that anyhow, but today is just a broad view scope of looking at the categories to consider when you are looking for increased energy. How we move and how we exercise is another source of how we derive energy. If you are doing some activity or exercise and detesting it, hating it, begrudging it, I want to ask you if you think that is fueling or is it draining? So there are a plethora of ways that we can find to move in a way that creates joy and is actually creating more energy. So I'm going to invite you to consider how you're moving and if it is actually fueling to you. How you sleep and rest. Obviously, that's one of the key ways that we can recharge our internal battery is by sleep. And interestingly enough, most of the women that I deal with are already deficient in this type of area for a multitude of reasons, whether it's stress or metabolic issues or hormone issues or hot flashes. Sleep is already in a deficit. And I hope that this isn't you, but often cases, this is the reality. So how the quality and quantity of our sleep is very important, and how we allow ourselves to rest. And another thing that I see with my own clients is this beautiful, admirable motivation to keep going, to keep doing more, to provide, to be, because I deal with badass, independent, driven, successful women. And they can do a lot, and they do a lot. So being able to prioritize themselves is often one of the things that can actually drain them. So allowing ourselves to rest and of course sleep, but also to rest and not to be in go mode all the time. Our exposure to natural sunlight can also be a very fueling and recharging activity. Just by merely seeing the sun, like outside in real life with our real eyes, without any protective eyewear, it actually creates a neurological response and it sets our circadian rhythms. So that's our own internal biological clock and regulates our sleep and wake cycles. So getting exposure to sunlight, particularly first thing in the morning, can really be invigorating and actually help the sleep cycle, help you to sleep even better. So that's one way that we can recharge as humans, all of us. And that is standard across the board, is getting exposure with our eyes directly to sunlight. And of course, not looking directly into sunlight because that would be silly and burn. But you can do it in a safe way. Our connection to nature. So how connected we are to our environment can also tap into, I believe, an infinite well of energy, being connected to the influences that are around us. Can be either very fueling, or if we're not getting enough of it, very depleting. And sex. If we think about how we derive our actual life, is from sex, right? It's from two humans, well, or sperm into egg. It's in traditional ways, sex. So our life force, our reproductive organs, that is its intention, that's its function, to create life. That's really what it's there for. So if this area of ourselves is shut down, so too is our own internal life force and our own internal energy. So something to consider even though you may not feel like you have the energy when you're tired already and already feeling drained to have sex, I would really invite you to consider experimenting in this department and having more sexual activity, whether it's with yourself or a partner, and just see how inspiring that may be. And inspiring may not be the proper word, but invigorating and fueling and uplifting that can be. How much joy we have in our life can also fuel our tanks and our energy reserves. This can really add a lot of delight, pleasure, love, happiness, joy, fulfillment to our life. If we are lacking in this department, this can be really um, quite draining. Also, creativity. How creative we are and able to bring something to life. Like if we think about what we're doing when we're creating something is bringing something to the world. We're birthing something. So that can be a very uplifting and inspiring and motivating and energizing type of activity, how we create. And it doesn't have to be something artistic. It could be through words. It can be a multitude of ways that you can create something. So anyway, inviting you to look at your level of creativity. As you may know, our relationships can be very fueling or very draining. And this may be a question and maybe a deeper topic that we'll dive into in the future. But I'm just going to leave it there as the overview. Relationships and how connected we feel to others, whether those relationships are supportive or diminishing, how connected we feel to community, being part of something that that can fill our tanks. And lastly, our external environment, the environment in which we spend a lot of time, whether it's where you're living or where you're working, or maybe it's a combination of the two, that can inspire and uplift us, or it can be very draining. So I would invite you to ask yourself about your environment. Like, take a look at it. Does it support you? Is there a way that you can get it to support you or feel more supportive or more inspiring? And maybe even envisioning yourself today, like what would be the most supportive type of environment for you? And is there a way to bring that into manifestation, whether it's through visualization or just a mock type of experience, or bringing some of those elements into your world, into your actual physical surroundings, may be very helpful.
So just to recap, the categories that we covered today on a very general level to recharge your energy are food, movement and exercise, sleep and rest, sunshine, nature, sex, joy, creativity, relationships, and environment.
It's my hope today that I've given you an overview of some of the most general types of categories in ways in which that you can restore your own energy. There may be more for you, and I'd love to know if you have some that come to top of mind or that you're practicing right now. Please share with the community here or drop a comment below. It's also my hope today to just remind you that we are very complex beings, and it's not just one thing that it takes to restore our energy. It's not just one food, one superfood, one supplement. There are a multitude of ways that we can nourish our mind, body, heart, and soul. And it's my intention today to invite you to take a look at that. And if you are just starting on this journey and you want to have some tangible tools today, I do have a free resource that you can download. It's called the 7-Day Fatigue Fix, and it's an ebook that walks you through 5 plus 1 little bonus ways that you can restore your energy naturally on a physical level. It doesn't get so much into, it gets a little bit into the emotional level. Anyhow, it's my hope that I can inspire you to take a look at yourself as a complex, magnificent human that you are, and understand that it's not just one thing. There are multiple small little things that we can do on an ongoing basis to restore our energy naturally. So my question for you now is, how or what recharges your battery? Please comment below. I'd love to know. And if you feel so inclined, subscribe to the channel and follow along and be notified when I release future videos. It also helps me stay relevant to people that are looking for these types of questions or answers to these types of questions too. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you next time.